I worked 9 years online as a general virtual assistant, earning $5 an hour. Now I'm a marketing manager for a 3D business coach. The journey from virtual assistant to being a marketing manager, the lessons, the struggles along the way, not openly talked about. And I know there are a lot of videos out there that you will find how to become a virtual assistant, how to niche down, and all of those things, but the reality of being a virtual assistant is what this video is all about. So if you're new here, I'm Andy, and I create videos for those women or for anyone else who wants to work online, being a virtual assistant or a freelance worker. I talk the real life scenarios, the behind the scenes that no one talks about. And if this is something that you vibe, comment, like, and subscribe. So yes, how I started is not what I expected. How I started, like everyone else who transitions from a different career path, I'm like you guys. I also don't know anything about virtual assistant. I am a nurse here in the Philippines, so my 4 years in college was actually learning nursing. I reviewed for a year. I took the board exam. I passed it. And then most of my life I would say that I was trained and I studied nursing. So transitioning to become a virtual assistant is very, very new to me. I don't know how to start. I don't know if I'm doing everything right. I only know how to turn on a computer. I know how to use Microsoft Document. I know how to create PowerPoint presentations. I know a little bit about spreadsheets, but I don't know how to understand it or use it in a complex way. So I really don't have any idea. And just like you guys, I looked into online jobs platforms to find clients, to find jobs. And I guess that's a good thing. That's the first thing that you need to do. I just looked out for jobs that says anything about data entry, anything about PowerPoint presentation, or those kind of skills. And that's why I started with a $5 hour rate. I didn't become a marketing manager right away. It took years for me to become into this specialized skill. There are 3 lessons that I've learned that I want to share. Number 1 is that stability takes time. It didn't happen overnight. I've learned this the hard way. It doesn't mean that you have a client right now, or if you have a job right now, you are stable, because it's different. It's not the same if you're working here in the Philippines setting. You work with clients anywhere and they follow their own law, so you are not protected by their law. You are protected only in the Philippine law. So if the client you're working with, the company you're working with, if they are not registered here in the Philippines, then you are not protected. But if they're registered here in the Philippines, you are protected. If your client is not registered here in the Philippines and they will end your contract, you cannot appeal or you cannot complain. Not like that. You have a Department of Labor to help you sort things out, especially if you are terminated without explanation or if you're terminated in the wrong way. But in reality, as a virtual assistant, usually you are treated as an independent contractor. So you have to pay your own taxes. You provide your own equipment. So you are expected to do all those things. When your client says, girl, we need to end your contract because I don't have money anymore, or the business is not income generating anymore, or that I just don't like you, you don't do anything but end your contract and find another client. Start from scratch. So uncertainty is there. It's always there in this industry. The only way for you to survive is that you always have to have a backup plan and you think 5 steps ahead. You also have to have another source of income. It can be another client. It can be a passive income, so that you will not just rely on just one client. And I've learned this the hard way. When I decided to increase my rate, I talked to one of my clients and told them that this is now my new rate effective on the next 2 months. And then they just said that, okay, that's good on you, but we will end our contract before you start with your new rate because it's not on my budget and it's not on my priority. So that's it. You have to learn how to accept that. And because of that, I have to reevaluate everything and then I have to start from scratch. So I have learned to package my services instead of working hourly. Lesson 2 is freedom is real, but it's different. I thought that when you work online, when you work at home, you have full freedom. You get to control your time, but the reality is not. You have will have more responsibility, you have more distractions. You won't know when your work stops and when your work ends. Weekend don't feel like rest. This happens if you don't set boundaries, you don't set priorities, and you're not open with your client about this. So I have learned that before you start working with a client, you have to let them know your working hours. You have to let them know when you are able to respond to them. If it's an urgent one, how can they reach out to you? If it's not urgent, then they can use email or something like that. And you also have to let them know if you don't work on weekends. Working online, usually you really work with the client on a different time zone. If it's a US client, if it's their Friday evening, it can be your Saturday morning. So you have to let them know that, hey, these are my working hours. If you reach out to me on a weekend, you won't get a response from me until Monday. And you will also respect that they have their boundaries too. Being transparent and setting your boundaries and knowing your priorities so that you can still have that work-life balance that you wanted to achieve. Lesson 3 is you keep figuring things out. I may be 9 years in this industry, but I will tell you guys, honestly, I am still figuring things out because the only thing that is constant in this world is change. And every day, life changes, life happens. You get to figure one thing out today, but the next week, it's another thing to figure out. Just like life, you just have to keep on learning, to keep on adjusting, to keep going. To make this a concrete example, let's say social media management. Before I started, there's no AI. So you have to create graphics from scratch, write captions from scratch. You have to plan from scratch. Right now, there's AI. You have to learn how to work with AI. It's easier to write captions asking AI's help. But of course, don't rely on AI 100%. You really also have to proofread everything so that it will still sound like human. But I guess my main point here is that you figured out how to do social media management manually. And then now there's AI. AI helps to make your life or work easier. So you have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn how to use it for your work, with your work, not to replace you, but to make your work easier. Learning, adapting, and keep figuring things out constantly. What I wish I knew before I started this transition is that it is not linear. So yes, I studied 4 years in nursing. I reviewed for a year. I took the board exam. I passed it. And then right then and there, I knew that I will apply in a hospital setting. I will work in a general ward. And if I wanted to be promoted or if I wanted to level up my career, either I go to surgery or OBGYN or pedia. But here in a virtual assistant, there are a lot of things that you have to learn before you get to becoming a marketing manager. So I started as a general virtual assistant. I would say I am a jail of all trades. I know a lot of things, but I have to really dig deeper to those skills and learn which one I will take so that I'll become a marketing manager. So I studied social media management. I studied how to write captions. I studied how to create graphics. And then after that, I also then studied how to plan and strategize so that I'll become a social media strategist. And I thought that a marketing manager already, but it's not. I also have to learn email marketing. I also have to learn meta ads, Google ads, SEO for me to become a marketing manager, for me to understand the whole setup of the business. So it's not linear, guys. It's not step A to B to C. There's a lot of branches that I have to learn in order for me to get to this point. And right now, I'm still figuring things out. You also don't need to feel ready to start. You can start messy and work your way throughout as long as you're adaptive to change and learning. And as long as you're consistent, consistency always beats talent. That's what I always tell myself. Consistency beats talent all the time. Working online can be really quiet sometimes. Not like a normal setting where you get to work at 8 a.m. You get to meet your coworkers. You get to banter with them. You get to laugh with them. You get to ask questions with them. And then at 5:30, you get home. Here, it's isolating. You don't have anyone to talk to. You just face your computer. If you have any questions about your task, you search the internet for answers, you watch YouTube videos, you read blog posts, you dive into a lot of things, you get into the rabbit hole, and the only person you can talk to is yourself. No one will understand you. So it can be mentally draining. So you have to learn how to reset. You have to learn how to make things happier, even if it's not happier anymore. So the people that I've met here in this online industry is that after their work, they always find time for themselves. They either go out and catch up with friends, drink over coffee, coffee, or they just read their books or some kind of things. Just find that peace within yourself. Find that joy back. Because working online alone can be really, really, really isolating and mentally draining. I guess I'll close this with, if I would go back, would I choose this path again? I would also choose this path, but I also wouldn't romanticize it the way people do online. Yes, you can earn dollars here, you can earn a lot, but if you don't have system in place, if you don't have the stability, if you don't have backup plans, if you don't have transparency, boundaries, you will lose all of that. And you have to know that money equals time. So in order for you to take back control of your freedom, take back control of your time, you have to learn how to work smarter, not harder. You have to know how to package your services. You have to know how to work in a way that you'll not just work for hours. You have to be smarter with your time. You have to be smarter with everything. I hope that this inspires you. I don't want this to motivate you. I want this to be a reality check. So if you have any questions regarding virtual assistant, drop them down below. I read everything. And yeah, my question for you is, if there's one thing you want to learn, or if there's one thing you want to know before starting as a virtual assistant, what that be? Let me know. I read everything.